I never thought I'd find myself standing in front of a monster, asking him to become one for me. The rain hammered against the blacked-out windows of the penthouse suite, each drop like a gunshot in the suffocating silence. My hands trembled as I clutched my purse, not from cold, but from the absolute terror of what I was about to do. What I had to do. The man behind the desk didn't look up. He sat there like a king on a throne made of shadows and secrets, his fingers steepled beneath his chin, dark eyes fixed on some invisible point beyond me. Dante Salvatore. Even his name tasted dangerous on my tongue, though I hadn't dared speak it aloud. Everyone in Boston knew who he was. Everyone whispered about the bodies that disappeared when you crossed him, about the politicians who bent to his will, about the empire built on blood and fear that stretched from the waterfront to the State House. And everyone knew better than to seek him out, everyone except me. You have 60 seconds to tell me why I shouldn't have my men throw you into the harbor. His voice was dark velvet wrapped around steel. He still hadn't looked at me. 59. 58. My throat closed. This was insane. I should run. I should, but Marcus would find me. He always found me. Can you make someone disappear? The words burst out of me, raw and desperate. Please. I need someone to just vanish. That got his attention. Dante Salvatore's gaze lifted, and I felt it like a physical touch. Heavy, invasive, stripping away every defense I'd tried to build. His eyes were the color of espresso, so dark they were nearly black, framed by thick lashes that would have been beautiful on anyone else. On him, they were just another weapon. Repeat that. It wasn't a request. I forced myself to stand straighter, even though every instinct screamed at me to run. I need someone to disappear, permanently. I can pay. I have money saved, and I can get more. I can work for you. Do whatever you need. His name. The words cut through my rambling like a knife. Simple, direct, terrifying. I swallowed hard. Marcus Hendricks. I know who he is. Dante leaned back in his chair, and the leather creaked in the silence. Corporate attorney, prosecutor's office before that, well-connected family, engaged to Senator Hendricks's daughter. My stomach dropped. We're not engaged anymore. I broke it off 3 months ago. Did you? It wasn't a question. His eyes tracked over me with clinical precision, cataloging every detail. The concealer that couldn't quite hide the bruise on my cheekbone, the way I held my left arm close to my body, the fact that I'd worn long sleeves in August. And he took that well, I assume. Shame burned through me, hot and acidic. I looked away. Look at me, Isabel. My head snapped up. He knew my name. Of course he did. Dante Salvatore probably knew everything about everyone who walked through his door. Every secret, every weakness, every desperate moment that brought them here. How did you find me? He asked, his tone almost conversational now. Almost. A woman at the shelter. The words came out barely above a whisper. She said if I ever needed real help, the kind the police couldn't give, I should come here. She said you'd understand what it meant when someone couldn't be saved any other way. Something flickered across his face, too quick to read. This woman have a name? She just said to tell you Teresa sent me. That you'd remember her. The silence that followed felt alive, crackling with tension I didn't understand. Dante's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly, a muscle ticking beneath the sharp line of his cheekbone. Teresa. He said the name like a prayer or a curse. I couldn't tell which. Then he stood, and I realized I'd made a terrible mistake. He was massive. Not just tall, though he had to be at least 6'3", but built like violence given human form. Broad shoulders, stretched his black dress shirt, the sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms corded with muscle and marked with scars. He moved around the desk with the fluid grace of a predator, each step deliberate, controlled. I backed up instinctively. My spine hit the wall. Do you know what you're asking me? Dante stopped just inches away, close enough that I could smell his cologne, cedar, and smoke, and something darker, more dangerous. Do you understand what it costs to make someone disappear? Anything. My voice broke on the word. I'll pay anything. Do anything. I can't keep running. He found me at the last place, and the one before that. He has connections everywhere, and the restraining order means nothing. And the police can't help, because he's careful. He's so careful, and I'm so tired of being afraid. I was crying now, hot tears streaming down my face, and I hated myself for it. Hated that I was weak. Hated that I'd let Marcus reduce me to this broken, desperate thing. begging a criminal for salvation. Dante's hand came up, and I flinched hard. He froze, his expression unreadable. Then, slowly, impossibly gently, he brushed a tear from my cheek with his thumb. The touch was so careful it shattered something inside me. "Give me his name," he said quietly. "Every detail. Every place he goes. Every person he knows. Every pattern in his life." "And Isabel?" I looked up at him, drowning in those dark eyes. "If you walk through this door, if you ask me to do this, there's no going back. You'll owe me. Not money, not work. You. Do you understand?" I should have run, should have thanked him and walked away and found some other solution. Instead, I whispered, "I understand." Dante smiled then, and it was the most beautiful, terrifying thing I'd ever seen. Good, because Marcus Hendricks just became a dead man walking, and you, Isabel, just became mine. The word mine echoed in my head like a death knell as Dante stepped back, giving me space to breathe. But the air in the room felt thinner somehow, charged with something I didn't have a name for. "Sit." He gestured to the leather chair across from his desk. I moved on shaking legs, hyper-aware of his eyes tracking my every movement. When I sank into the chair, the leather was still warm from whoever had sat there before me. I wondered if they'd walked out alive. Dante returned to his seat with that same predatory grace, pulling out a tablet and a silver pen. "Start with his routine. Morning to night. Where does he go? Who does he see?" My mind scrambled to organize 3 years of hell into coherent information. He leaves his apartment in Beacon Hill at 7:15 every morning. Black Mercedes, license plate. I rattled off the numbers, watching Dante's fingers move across the screen with surprising delicacy for such large hands. Coffee stop? Cafe Nero on Cambridge Street. Always orders the same thing. Americano, extra shot, no cream. He flirts with the barista, makes her uncomfortable, but she needs the tips, so she smiles through it. The bitterness in my voice surprised even me. Dante's eyes flicked up. "You've been watching him." I had to know where not to be, my hands twisted in my lap. "He works at Morrison & Associates until 6, sometimes 7. Wednesday nights he has racquetball at the Harvard Club with Judge Patterson. Fridays he meets clients at Top of the Hub. And weekends?" My stomach churned. "He looks for me." The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Dante set down his pen with deliberate care. "Explain." "He hires people, private investigators mostly. Sometimes he just drives around, checks the shelters, the cheap hotels, anywhere someone might hide. He's smart about it. Never does anything that could be tracked back to him." I forced myself to meet those dark eyes. 3 weeks ago, he found me at a women's shelter in Dorchester. Waited outside for 6 hours. When I finally had to leave for my shift at the diner, he followed me, cornered me in the parking lot. And the memory made my ribs ache. He wanted to talk, said he forgave me for embarrassing him, that we could work things out. When I refused, I touched my side unconsciously, where the bruises had finally started to fade from purple to yellow-green. He reminded me that no one says no to a Hendricks, that I belonged to him, and I always would. Dante's jaw clenched so hard I could see the muscle jump. "You went to the police?" I tried. Marcus's father plays golf with the police commissioner. The officer who took my statement was very sympathetic. Said these domestic situations are always complicated. Suggested maybe I was overreacting. The laugh that escaped me was brittle, broken. Marcus sent me flowers the next day, white lilies, like a funeral arrangement. For a long moment, Dante said nothing. He just stared at me with an intensity that made me feel simultaneously exposed and seen. Really seen. Maybe for the first time in years. "You said you could pay." His voice was dangerously soft. "How much do you have?" $17,000. It's everything I've saved since I left him. I've been working 2 jobs, squirreling away every penny. That wouldn't cover 1 day of what you're asking. My heart stopped. But I can get more. I can work more shifts. I don't want your money, Isabel. The way he said my name low, almost caressing, sent an involuntary shiver down my spine. Then what? I told you. I want you. He leaned forward, elbows on the desk, those obsidian eyes pinning me in place. You'll live under my protection. In my home. You'll go where I tell you. When I tell you. You'll follow my rules without question. And in exchange, Marcus Hendricks will disappear so completely, his own mother won't be able to find his body. The room tilted. Live with you? I can't, that's not. Those are my terms. His voice was absolute. Final. You're a loose end, Isabel. A witness to a conversation that could put me away for life. The only way this works is if I can keep you close. Keep you safe. Keep you controlled. So I trade one prison for another? The words burst out before I could stop them. Trade Marcus's cage for yours? Something dangerous flashed in Dante's eyes. In one fluid motion, he was around the desk again, this time gripping the arms of my chair, caging me in. His face was inches from mine, and up close I could see the thin scar that cut through his left eyebrow, the flecks of gold hidden in all that darkness. I am nothing like him. Each word was a low growl. I don't hurt women. I don't prey on the vulnerable. And I sure as hell don't send funeral flowers when I don't get my way. Then why do you want me here? I whispered, hating how breathless I sounded. Why not just do what you're going to do and let me disappear too? His gaze dropped to my lips, then back to my eyes. Because Teresa asked me to protect her girls. Because I pay my debts. And because something in me broke when you flinched from my hand like you expected me to hit you. The confession hung in the air between us, raw and unexpected. I don't understand you, I breathed. Good. His mouth curved into something too sharp to be called a smile. Fear keeps people alive in my world. But Isabel, I'm not the one you should be afraid of anymore. He pulled back, returning to his desk like nothing had happened. Like he hadn't just shattered every assumption I had about who and what he was. You have until midnight to decide, Dante said, his voice back to business. After that, the offer expires. Marcus lives, and you're on your own. And if I say yes? His eyes met mine, dark and fathomless and filled with promises I didn't dare examine too closely. Then pack light. Because tomorrow, Isabel Ross dies, and the woman who takes her place belongs to me. I didn't go back to the shelter. Instead, I sat in an all-night diner on the round, outskirts of town, nursing the same cup of coffee until the waitress started giving me concerned looks. My phone sat on the table in front of me, Marcus's last message glowing on the screen. I saw you today, Bella. You looked tired. Come home. I'll take care of you. He hadn't seen me. He couldn't have. I'd been careful, so careful. But that was Marcus's game, making me question reality, making me doubt my own sanity until I didn't know what was real anymore. My hands shook as I pulled up my banking app. $17,342. 3 years of double shifts and skipped meals and sleeping in my car. 3 years of building a future that Marcus would tear down the moment he found me again. And he would find me. He always did. Isabel Ross dies. And the woman who takes her place belongs to me. Dante's words circled my mind like vultures. What did that even mean? What would he expect from me? The thought should have terrified me, and it did, but beneath, the fear was something else. Something that felt dangerously like hope. At 11:47 p.m., I made my decision. The black car that pulled up to the diner's curb was sleek and expensive. Windows tinted so dark I couldn't see inside. My heart hammered as the back door opened, revealing a man who definitely wasn't Dante. He was older, maybe 50, with silver hair and kind eyes that seemed wrong for someone in this world. Miss Ross? I'm Vincent. Mr. Salvatore sent me to collect you. Collect. Like I was a package. A possession already. I slid into the back seat, clutching my single duffel bag, everything I owned in the world. Vincent didn't try to make small talk as we drove through the city, and I was grateful. I watched Boston blur past the windows, wondering if I'd ever see it as a free woman again. The car eventually turned down a tree-lined street in the suburbs, pulling up to a wrought iron gate that opened silently. The house beyond was massive, a modern fortress of glass and stone that seemed to swallow the moonlight. Mr. Salvatore is waiting in his study, Vincent said, opening my door. Second floor, last door on the right. The interior was all clean lines and expensive art, the kind of place that made me acutely aware of my thrift store jeans and worn sneakers. My footsteps echoed on marble floors as I climbed the sweeping staircase, each step feeling like a descent rather than a climb. I found the door, raised my hand to knock. It's open. Dante's voice carried through the wood. He stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, silhouetted against the city lights, a glass of amber liquid in his hand. He'd changed from the dress shirt into a simple black t-shirt that did nothing to hide the powerful build beneath. Something about seeing him in casual clothes made him seem more real, more dangerous. You came, He didn't turn around. Did you think I wouldn't? I thought you might choose the devil you know over the one you don't. He took a sip of his drink. Most people do. I set my bag down by the door, forcing my voice to stay steady. Most people haven't lived with Marcus Hendricks. That got him to turn. His eyes scanned me from head to toe, and I fought the urge to cross my arms over my chest. Are you afraid of me, Isabel? The question was so direct it stole my breath. I could lie, should lie. Instead, I found myself telling the truth. Yes, but I'm more afraid of dying slowly, of looking over my shoulder for the rest of my life, of becoming so small that I disappear even before Marcus makes me. I lifted my chin. So yes, I'm terrified, but I'm here anyway. Something shifted in his expression, respect maybe, or surprise. He set down his glass and moved toward me with that predatory grace I was beginning to recognize. When he was close enough that I could smell cedar and smoke, he reached into his pocket. Give me your phone. I handed it over without argument. He did something with it, then gave it back. New number. Encrypted. The only contacts are mine, Vincent's, and my head of security, Luca. No one else exists to you now. What about my job? My friends. Gone. All of it. His voice was firm but not cruel. Isabel Ross worked her last shift yesterday. She withdrew her savings, packed her things, and disappeared. Maybe she went to California, maybe Canada. Maybe she's dead in a ditch. The point is, she's gone, and you're what's left. The finality of it hit me like a physical blow. My old life, erased. My identity, gone. Everything I'd been trying to build, wiped away. Hey. Dante's hand cupped my chin, tilting my face up. The gesture was surprisingly gentle. This is the only way. You understand that, right? If Marcus even suspects you're alive, if he catches one whisper of your existence, everything I do to him means nothing. He'll come for you. And next time, he won't just hurt you. Next time he'll kill me, I whispered. Yes. His thumb brushed across my cheekbone, tracing the fading bruise. But there won't be a next time, because in 48 hours Marcus Hendricks will be gone, and you'll be safe. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to believe him so badly it physically hurt. What do I call myself now? A smile ghosted across his lips. Whatever you want. You're reborn. New name, new life, new everything. His hand dropped from my face, and I felt the loss of his warmth. But to my world, you're mine. My responsibility. The door burst open, and a man I didn't recognize stormed in, blood streaming from a gash on his forehead. Boss, we've got a problem. Hendricks knows she's gone, and he's offering $500,000 to anyone who brings her back alive. Dante's entire body went rigid. When he turned to me, his eyes were black ice. How the hell did he know you left tonight? My phone buzzed in my hand. A new message from an unknown number. You think Salvatore can protect you? I own this city, Bella. Tick-tock. The blood drained from my face. He's tracking me. He's been tracking me the whole time. The phone felt like a live grenade in my palm. Don't touch anything else. Dante's command cut through my panic. He turned to the bleeding man in the doorway. Luca, lockdown protocol. Now. No one in or out. Sweep the perimeter and check every camera feed from the last 6 hours. Luca disappeared without a word, barking orders into his radio. Dante crossed to me in 2 strides, plucking the phone from my trembling fingers. His jaw clenched as he read the message, a muscle ticking beneath the sharp line of his cheekbone. How long have you had this phone? 2 years. Since before I left him. My voice sounded hollow, distant. He gave it to me as a gift. Said he wanted to always be able to reach me, to keep me safe. Safe. The word dripped with venom. Dante's fingers flew across the screen, accessing menus I didn't even know existed. He's been tracking every move you've made for 2 years. Every shelter, every job, every pathetic attempt to escape. The room spun. No, that's not he couldn't have. He let you run, Isabel. Dante looked up, and the pity in his eyes destroyed me. He let you think you were free, let you scramble and hide and exhaust yourself, all while knowing exactly where you were. This was a game to him, and you just made it interesting by involving me. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Every moment of the past 2 years replayed in my mind with sickening clarity. Marcus always showing up just when I thought I'd found safety. The flowers delivered to addresses I'd never given him. The way he'd smile when I opened the door to a new shelter, like he was proud of me for trying. I'm going to be sick. I barely made it to the bathroom before my stomach emptied itself. I knelt on the cold marble, shaking, while the truth carved itself into my bones. I'd never escaped. Not once. I'd just been a mouse in Marcus's maze, running on his schedule, suffering on his timeline. Warm, hands gathered my hair back. Dante crouched beside me, his presence solid and real when everything else felt like it was dissolving. He didn't speak, didn't offer useless platitudes. He just stayed there, one hand steady on my back, while I shattered. When I finally sat back against the wall, he handed me a towel and a glass of water. I'm an idiot, I whispered. No, you're a survivor who was up against a predator with unlimited resources. He sat down beside me on the bathroom floor, this powerful, dangerous man in his expensive clothes, like it was the most natural thing in the world. Marcus is smart, methodical. He studied you, learned how you think, used your own survival instincts against you, and now he knows I came to you. Yes, Dante's voice was grim, which means he'll move fast. 500,000 is enough to make even loyal men reconsider their allegiances. Fear spiked through me. You should send me away. Tell him you never saw me, that I was lying about Teresa, that— Stop. His hand caught my chin, forcing me to meet his eyes. I don't abandon people under my protection, ever. Marcus wants to play games? Fine. But he just made the biggest mistake of his miserable life. What mistake? A dangerous smile curved Dante's lips. He threatened what's mine. That word again. Mine. It should have made me feel trapped, owned, like just another thing Marcus had reduced me to. But when Dante said it, it felt like a shield, like a promise written in blood. What do we do now? I asked. Now? He stood, offering me his hand. Now we make you disappear for real, and we accelerate my timeline. I let him pull me to my feet, my hand small and cold in his warm grip. I thought you said 48 hours. That was before he declared war. Dante led me back into the study, where Luca had returned with a tablet and a grim expression. Boss, we've got movement. 3 cars just left Hendrick's building. Armed men, headed this direction. My heart stopped. He's coming here? Now? He's testing my defenses, seeing how serious I am about protecting you. Dante took the tablet, scanning whatever information Luca had pulled up. How many men? 9 confirmed. Could be more in reserve. Sloppy. Dante's tone was almost dismissive. He's desperate. Emotional. That makes him predictable. He looked at me. How well do you know his security team? I what? The question threw me. His bodyguards, his driver, anyone in his inner circle. Names, faces, habits. My mind raced. There's David, his head of security. Ex-military. Takes everything seriously. He has a daughter with asthma. Marcus used to make jokes about it. And Tony, the driver. He's older, Italian, very loyal to the family. Marcus's father hired him. Dante's eyes gleamed with interest. Good. What else? Marcus always keeps Anthony Torres close, his fixer. The guy who makes problems disappear. He's the one I'm most afraid of. Cold, efficient, completely without conscience. I wrapped my arms around myself. Marcus used to say that if I ever really ran, Anthony would find me. That he always finds them. Them? Luca's voice sharpened. I swallowed hard. I wasn't the first girlfriend to try to leave. There was a woman before me. Sophia. She went to the police. Tried to file charges. My voice dropped to barely a whisper. They found her car at the bottom of a quarry 3 weeks later. Ruled it a suicide. The silence that followed was absolute. Dante's expression went cold. Empty the face of the killer everyone whispered about. When he spoke, his voice was soft, deadly. Luca, change of plans. We're not waiting. Pull the team. I want eyes on Marcus within the hour. Boss, if we move now. He's got 9 men coming to my house to take what's mine. That requires an immediate response. Dante turned to me, and something in his eyes made my breath catch. Isabel, I need you to trust me. Can you do that? Every instinct screamed that trusting anyone was. How I'd ended up here. But looking into those dark eyes, I found myself nodding. Good. Because in 12 hours, this ends. One way or another. The lights went out. And somewhere in the darkness, glass shattered. The darkness was absolute, suffocating. My heart hammered so hard I could feel it in my throat. "Don't move." Dante's voice came from somewhere to my left, low and commanding. "Luca, report." Powers cut to the whole block. "Professional job." Luca's voice was eerily calm for someone reporting a home invasion. "They're coming through the east wing. 4 signatures on thermal." 4, which meant 5 were still unaccounted for. A hand closed around my wrist, large, warm, unmistakably Dante's. "Stay with me. Don't make a sound." He pulled me through the darkness with confident steps, navigating his own home blind. My free hand trailed along the wall, my other gripping his like a lifeline. We moved quickly, silently, and I realized with a start that he'd done this before, prepared for this exact scenario. We descended stairs I hadn't known existed, the air growing cooler, more confined. A hidden passage. Of course, a man like Dante would have escape routes built into his fortress. Behind us, I heard muffled shouts, the distinct crack of gunfire. I flinched, and Dante's grip tightened. "They're shooting at shadows. My men know this house better than they know their own faces." "How can you be so calm?" I whispered. "Because I've been waiting for Marcus to make a move like this. He just gave me everything I need to bury him." We reached a door. I felt Dante punch in a code, heard the electronic beep. Then we were moving again. This room was different. Emergency lights cast everything in dim red, revealing what looked like a command center. Multiple screens showed different angles of the house, each image rendered in green-tinged night vision. I watched in horror as masked men moved through Dante's home, weapons raised. One of them stopped at the study, where we'd been standing moments ago, scanning the room with his gun. "They're looking for you," Dante said, moving to a weapons cabinet. He pulled out a handgun, checked the magazine with practiced efficiency. "They won't find you. You said 4 were in the east wing. Where are the other 5? "Good question." Dante turned to a different screen, cycling through camera feeds. "There. 3 at the perimeter, likely backup. That leaves 2. The screen showing the passage we'd just used flickered. A figure appeared, moving with deliberate purpose toward our location. "Shit." Dante moved to the door, positioning himself between me and the entrance. "Isabel, there's a panic room through that door." He pointed to the far wall. "Code is 1873. You get inside, you lock it, and you don't come out until I come get you." "What?" "No, I'm not leaving you. This isn't a discussion." His voice was steel. "If something happens to me, there's a phone inside. Call Vincent, he'll get you. Out." "Dante." He cupped my face in his hands, and the gesture was so unexpectedly tender it stole my words. "I will come for you, I promise. But I need to know you're safe so I can do what needs to be done. Please, Isabel. Trust me." The vulnerability in those last words broke something in me. I nodded, unable to speak past the lump in my throat. "Go. Now." I ran to the far wall, fingers shaking as I punched in the code. The door slid open with a pneumatic hiss, revealing a small, fortified room. I turned back one last time, seeing Dante's silhouette against the red emergency lights, gun raised, every line of his body coiled and ready. Then the door sealed shut, and I was alone in the dark. The panic room was soundproofed. I could hear nothing from outside. A single dim light illuminated the space, showing me a cot, supplies, and the promised phone mounted on the wall. I pressed my ear against the door, straining for any sound, any indication of what was happening. Nothing. Minutes crawled by like hours. My imagination filled the silence with horrors Dante shot, bleeding out on his own floor. Marcus's men finding this room, breaking through. Marcus himself, smiling that smile that had once made me feel cherished and now only promised pain. I pulled out the encrypted phone Dante had given me. No signal in this fortress. No way to know if he was okay, if Luca had survived, if the light went out. My breath caught. That shouldn't be possible. This room had its own power supply, Dante had said. Independent systems. Unless... The door hissed open. I scrambled backward, looking for anything to use as a weapon. My hand closed around something metal, a flashlight, and I raised it like a club, my heart threatening to explode out of my chest. A figure stepped through the doorway, backlit by the red emergency lights beyond. Impressive. Most people freeze when they're scared. That voice. Smooth, cultured, laced with amusement. Not Dante. The emergency lights illuminated his face, and my blood turned to ice. Anthony Torres. Marcus's fixer. He looked exactly like I remembered. Sharp suit, sharper eyes, the kind of face that could smile at you while planning your funeral. Hello, Isabel. Marcus has been very worried about you. How did you— The code was quite simple, actually. Mr. Salvatore is predictable in some ways. The date he established his territory in Boston, 1873. Sentimental, really. Anthony stepped fully into the room, and I saw the gun in his hand. Now, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Marcus would prefer you unharmed, but he'll accept you breathing. Your choice. Dante will kill you for this. Dante is currently occupied with my associates. By the time he realizes I'm not where I'm supposed to be, we'll be long gone. Anthony smiled, and it was like staring at a shark. You really should have stayed with Marcus, dear. He may be obsessive, but at least he doesn't make promises he can't keep. Protection? He laughed. You've been here less than 2 hours and you're already compromised. Rage, hot and sudden, flooded through me. Rage at Marcus, at Anthony, at every man who'd treated me like a possession to be traded and controlled. At myself, for being so stupid, so desperate, so weak. You're right, I said, lowering the flashlight. I should have known better than to trust anyone. Anthony relaxed slightly, sensing victory. Smart girl. Now let's— I swung the flashlight with every ounce of strength I had, catching him across the temple. He staggered, and I ran. I didn't think. I just ran. Behind me, Anthony cursed a string of vicious words that promised violence. His footsteps thundered after me, and I knew with sickening certainty that I couldn't outrun him. He was trained, armed, and I was operating on pure terror and adrenaline. The command center was empty, screens still cycling through night vision feeds. I saw bodies on the monitors, masked men down, blood pooling. Dante's. Men were winning, but where was he? Isabel. Anthony's voice echoed through the passage. You're only making this worse for yourself. I plunged into the darkness of the corridor we'd come through, hands scraping against stone walls, my breath coming in ragged gasps. Up the stairs, stumbling, my knee cracking against concrete. Pain exploded through my leg, but I kept moving, kept climbing. A hand grabbed my ankle. I screamed, kicking back hard. My heel connected with something Anthony's face, his shoulder. I couldn't tell, but his grip loosened enough for me to wrench free. I scrambled up the remaining stairs and burst through the door into the main house. The emergency lights painted everything in red shadows. Broken glass glittered on marble floors. And there, in the entrance hall, stood Dante. He wasn't alone. 2 of Marcus's men lay motionless at his feet. A third was on his knees, Dante's gun pressed to the back of his head. Blood streaked Dante's face, his t-shirt torn and dark with more blood, his or theirs. I couldn't tell. When his eyes found me, something feral flashed in their depths. Isabel. His voice was rough, dangerous. I told you to stay in the panic room. Anthony, the man himself emerged from the passage behind me, gun raised. Blood ran from his temple where I'd hit him, and his expression was pure murder. Drop the weapon, Salvatore. Anthony's gun was pointed at my head. Or I paint your walls with her brain. Everything stopped. The air itself seemed to freeze. Dante's eyes never left mine. In that moment, I saw something I hadn't seen before: fear. Not for himself, but for me. It was there in the tightness around his mouth, the way his finger tensed on his own trigger. You really want to play this game? Dante's voice was soft, deadly. You think Marcus will thank you for damaging his property? He'll forgive me, eventually. Anthony's gun pressed harder against my skull, cold metal against warm skin. But you just lost. Everyone in this city needs to know what happens when they take what belongs to Marcus Hendricks. She doesn't belong to him. Each word was carved from granite. She never did. Funny, that's not what her signature says on the apartment lease, or the joint bank account, or the engagement announcement his father sent to half of Boston's elite. Anthony's laugh was cruel. She's his fiancé, Salvatore. Legal, binding, witnessed. And you just committed kidnapping. The world tilted. What? No, I left him. I broke off the engagement. Did you? Strange. Because Marcus still has your ring, still has your belongings in his apartment, still has a wedding venue booked for next spring. Anthony's voice dripped poison in my ear. You really thought he'd let you go? You're an investment, sweetheart. The senator's office, the governor's ear, all contingent on Marcus settling down with the right kind of wife. You're not a person to him. You're a political strategy. Nausea rolled through me. 3 years. 3 years of thinking I'd escaped, and I'd never even been free to begin with. Isabel, look at me. Dante's command cut through my spiral. When my eyes met his, he was utterly calm. Do you want to go with him? What kind of question? Answer me, yes or no. No. The word was barely a whisper, but it echoed like a gunshot. Then get down. I didn't think. I just dropped, my knees hitting marble the same instant Dante moved. His gun swung up in a blur, the kneeling man forgotten. The sound of the gunshot was deafening in the enclosed space. Anthony's gun clattered to the floor. He staggered back, clutching his shoulder, blood streaming between his fingers. His face was a mask of shock and rage. You shot me. You actually, the next one goes between your eyes. Dante stepped over the kneeling man, moving toward us with lethal purpose. Luca, the head of security, appeared from somewhere behind me, materializing like a ghost. He hauled Anthony up by his collar, wrenching his arms behind his back while the fixer screamed in pain. Dante reached me in 2 strides, pulling me up from the floor. His hands moved over me frantically, checking for injuries. Did he hurt you? Did he touch you? I'm okay. My voice broke. I hit him with a flashlight. A startled laugh escaped him, part relief, part disbelief. You hit him with a flashlight. It was all I had. His hands cupped my face, thumbs brushing away tears I hadn't realized I was crying. You're incredible. Absolutely insane, but incredible. The panic room, how did he get in? You said it was safe. It was a trap. Luca's voice was grim. Someone gave him the codes. Someone inside. Dante's entire body went rigid. He turned slowly to face the man still kneeling on the floor. The one he'd forgotten about in his rush to reach me. The man who'd been waiting there, silent, through everything. Take off the mask, Dante ordered. The man complied, pulling off the black balaclava. My legs nearly gave out. Vincent, Dante's driver, the kind-eyed man who'd picked me up from the diner. How much? Dante's voice was empty, hollow. How much did Marcus pay you? Vincent's eyes were wet. My granddaughter. He has my granddaughter. He said if I didn't help him, His voice cracked. I'm sorry, boss. I'm so sorry. Dante closed his eyes, and I saw something break behind his carefully controlled expression. Get them both out of my sight, he said quietly. Lock them in the wine cellar until I decide what to do with them. As Luca dragged both men away, Dante's phone buzzed. He pulled it out, his face draining of color as he read the message. What is it? I asked. He turned the screen toward me. You have something of mine. I have something of yours. The woman who sent Isabel to you? Teresa? She's with me now. Trade, or I start mailing you pieces. Below the text was a photo, a terrified woman bound to a chair, blood trickling from her nose. No, I whispered. Not because of me. Please. Not because of me. Dante's jaw clenched. He wants a meeting. Tomorrow night. Public place. It's a trap. Of course it's a trap. His eyes met mine, dark and determined. But we're going anyway. Dawn broke over Boston like a wound, all bruised purples and angry reds. I stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of Dante's bedroom, the room he'd brought me to after the attack, refusing to let me out of his sight. Below, his men moved through the grounds like shadows, cleaning up the aftermath. 2 body bags, Marcus's men who hadn't been smart enough to surrender. I should have felt something. Horror, maybe. Guilt. But I was numb, hollowed out by the image of Teresa bound to that chair. You need to sleep, Dante's voice came from behind me, rough with exhaustion. I didn't turn around. So do you. I will. When this is over. When will it be over? The question tasted like ash. Marcus has Teresa because of me. Vincent betrayed you because of... 2 men are dead because I walked through your door and... Stop. His hand settled on my shoulders, warm and solid. Vincent betrayed me because Marcus is a monster who threatens children. Those men are dead because they broke into my home with guns. And Teresa is in danger because she tried to save women from abusers. None of that is on you. I finally turned to face him. In the growing light, I could see the full extent of the damage, bruised knuckles, a cut above his eyebrow that someone had butterfly bandaged, dark circles under his eyes that spoke of too many nights like this. You're bleeding, I said softly, reaching up to touch the bandage. He caught my hand, his fingers threading through mine. I've had worse. That doesn't make it okay. No, but it makes it worth it. His thumb traced circles on my palm, the gesture absurdly gentle for a man who'd killed 2 people hours ago. I meant what I said, Isabel. You're under my protection. That means something to me. It means everything. The intensity in his eyes made my breath catch. We were standing too close, the air between us charged with something that had nothing to do with fear or danger, and everything to do with the way his gaze kept dropping to my lips. Why? The word escaped before I could stop it. Why does it mean so much? You don't know me. I'm just another lost girl who stumbled into your world. You're not just anything. His free hand came up to cup my face, and I found myself leaning into the touch like a flower seeking sunlight. Teresa sent me 12 women over the years. 12 women running from men who thought they owned them. I helped every single one disappear, start over, find safety. But you're the first one who looked me in the eye and asked me to make someone disappear. The first one who chose to fight back. I was desperate. You were brave. His forehead touched mine, and the intimacy of it stole my breath. And when Anthony had that gun to your head, when I thought I might lose you before I even really had you, I realized something. What? I whispered. That I'm not doing this just because Teresa asked. I'm doing this because the thought of Marcus touching you again makes me want to burn the entire city down. His voice dropped to barely audible. And that's dangerous, Isabel. For both of us. My heart hammered against my ribs. Why is it dangerous? Because men in my position don't get to care about people. Caring creates weaknesses, vulnerabilities, and Marcus already proved he knows how to exploit those. His thumb brushed across my cheekbone. But I can't seem to help myself where you're concerned. I should have pulled away. Should have remembered that I'd sworn never to let another man have power over me. Never to become someone's weakness again. But Dante wasn't Marcus. When he looked at me, he saw a person flawed, frightened, but fighting. Not a possession, not a political strategy. A person. I'm scared, I admitted. Not just of Marcus. Of this. Of you. Of how much I want to believe you can keep me safe when every instinct tells me no one can. Good. His lips curved into the ghost of a smile. Fear keeps you sharp. Just don't let it keep you alone. Before I could respond, his phone buzzed. The spell broke, and he stepped back, checking the message. His expression hardened. Luca? Vincent's granddaughter. We found her. Relief flooded through me. Is she okay? She's safe. Marcus was bluffing she was at her mother's house the whole time. He just sent Vincent a photoshopped image to make him think. Dante's jaw clenched. Vincent's asking to see you. Me? Why? He says he needs to apologize, to explain. Dante's eyes searched mine. You don't have to. After what he did, take me to him. The wine cellar was cool and dark. Racks of expensive bottles lining stone walls. Vincent sat on a wooden chair, hands zip-tied in front of him, his kind face ravaged by guilt and tears. Luca stood guard, expression impassive. When Vincent saw me, he broke. I'm so sorry, he sobbed. I thought he showed me pictures of Maya. Said he had men watching her school. That if I didn't help him get into the house, he'd... His voice cracked. I've worked for Mr. Salvatore for 15 years. He's been good to me, to my family, and I betrayed him for a lie. I knelt in front of him, ignoring Dante's sharp intake of breath. Your granddaughter is safe. That's what matters. I put you in danger. That animal could have killed you because of me. But he didn't. I'm here. I'm alive. I looked back at Dante, seeing the conflict in his eyes, the war between the ruthless boss who'd been betrayed and the man who understood what it meant to protect family. What happens to him now? That depends on Vincent. Dante moved to stand beside me. You gave Marcus my security codes, my safe room access, information that could have gotten people killed. I know. Vincent's voice was hollow. I know what I deserve. Do you? Dante crouched down, meeting the older man's eyes. Because what you deserve is a bullet. What you're going to get is a choice. You work for me, truly, from this moment forward. You tell me everything Marcus asked you, everything you told him, every contact you had. You help me end this. And maybe you get to see your granddaughter grow up. Vincent's eyes widened. You're giving me a chance? One. And only because Isabel is more forgiving than I am. Dante stood, his hand finding mine. Betray me again. And Marcus will seem merciful compared to what I'll do. Thank you, Vincent gasped. Thank you, I swear. Save it. Start talking. What else does Marcus know? Vincent swallowed hard. The meeting tonight. It's not just about Teresa. He's planning something bigger. He mentioned a name, Judge Patterson. Said after tonight you'd be finished in Boston. My blood ran cold. Patterson. That's the judge Marcus plays racquetball with. The one who has the power to sign arrest warrants. Dante finished grimly. He's going to try to have me arrested. Discredit me publicly while he takes you back. It's worse than that, boss. Luca spoke up from the shadows. I just got word. Patterson's daughter was attacked last night. Raped. And somehow forensic evidence is pointing to our crew. The silence was deafening. He's framing you, I whispered. For everything. Dante's phone buzzed again. Another message from Marcus. See you at the harbor 8 p.m. Bring Isabel. Come alone. Or Teresa dies, and you spend the rest of your life in prison for crimes I committed. Your choice, Salvatore. Tick-tock. You're not going alone. I'd said it 3 times already, and each time Dante had ignored me, pacing his study like a caged predator, while Luca pulled up security footage and satellite images of the harbor. It's not up for debate. Dante's voice was clipped, controlled the tone of a man who'd made his decision and wouldn't be swayed. The hell it isn't. I planted myself in his path, forcing him to stop. Marcus wants me. This whole thing is about me. You going alone is exactly what he expects. Which is why I'm not actually going alone. Luca will have snipers positioned on the surrounding buildings. Vincent will be inside Marcus's organization, feeding us intel. My men will be in place before Marcus even arrives. He tried to step around me. I moved with him. And what about Teresa? You think Marcus will just hand her over because you show up? He's going to use her as leverage to control you, to make me give you to him. Dante's hands gripped my shoulders, his eyes burning into mine. Yes, Isabel, I know. I've played this game 1,000 times. Marcus is good, but he's not better than me. He doesn't have to be better. He just has to be willing to sacrifice more. My voice cracked. He'll kill Teresa just to prove a point. He'll kill you to get to me. And then everything all of this will have been for nothing. Then what do you suggest? The question was sharp, challenging. I took a breath, the plan I'd been forming finally solidifying. We give him what he wants. Silence. Luca's fingers froze over his keyboard. Dante's grip tightened. Absolutely not. Listen to me. I grabbed his shirt, holding on when he tried to pull away. Marcus wants me broken, wants proof that no one can protect me from him. So we let him think he's won. I go to him willingly. No. And while he's distracted, while he's gloating and his guard is down, your men move in. We save Teresa, and we end this. By using you as bait. Dante's voice was dangerous, lethal. By putting you in the hands of the man who's been hunting you for 3 years. The man who sent his fixer to drag you back by force. You're out of your mind. I'm practical. I met his glare with one of my own. Marcus won't hurt me. Not permanently. I'm too valuable to his political ambitions. He needs the senator's daughter who ran away to come back repentant, not broken beyond repair. You don't know that. I know him better than you do. The truth of it tasted bitter. I spent 3 years learning how his mind works, what he values, what he'll sacrifice. His image is everything. He won't damage me where it shows. Not until after the wedding, not until he has what he needs from me. Luca cleared his throat. She has a point, boss. If Marcus thinks he's won, he'll get careless. Arrogant. That's when we strike. No. Dante released me, turning away. I won't risk it. We find another way. There is no other way. Frustration boiled over. Marcus has already framed you for rape. He has a federal judge in his pocket. He has Teresa hostage. And I checked the clock. 9 hours. He's going to have everything he wants unless we do something he doesn't expect. So we run. Dante spun back to face me. I have connections in Montreal, in Prague, in Sydney. I can have us on a plane in 2 hours. New identities, new lives, Teresa included. And leave him free to do this to someone else? The thought made me sick. Another girlfriend who tries to leave? Another woman who thinks she can escape? How many Sophias have to die in quarries before someone stops him? That's not your responsibility. Yes, it is. My hands clenched into fists. Every day I ran. Every shelter I hid in. I told myself I was surviving. But I was just postponing the inevitable. Marcus was always going to catch me. Always going to win. Unless I stopped running and started fighting. Dante's expression softened. Just slightly. You don't have to fight him alone. I know. That's why I have you. I moved closer, close enough to feel the heat radiating from his body. You said I was brave. Prove you meant it. Trust me to do this. Trusting you isn't the problem. Trusting myself not to kill every person in that warehouse the second he touches you, that's the problem. The raw honesty in his voice stole my breath. His hand came up to cup my face, thumb tracing the fading bruise Marcus had left. I've done terrible things, Isabel. I've hurt people, killed people, destroyed lives. But I've never cared about the collateral damage before. Never lost sleep over who got caught in the crossfire. His forehead touched mine. You make me care. And that's terrifying. Good, I whispered, echoing his words from earlier. Maybe caring will keep you sharp. A ghost of a smile touched his lips. You're going to be the death of me, or the saving of you. For a moment we just stood there, breathing the same air, teetering on the edge of something neither of us was ready to name. Then Luca's phone buzzed, shattering the moment. Boss, you need to see this. Luca turned his laptop around. The screen showed a live news broadcast, a press conference. Marcus stood at a podium, looking every inch the grieving fiancé, his father, the senator, beside him. Missing for 3 months now. Isabel Ross, my fiancé, was last seen in the company of known criminal Dante Salvatore. Marcus's voice trembled with perfectly performed emotion. We have reason to believe she's being held against her will. Mr. Salvatore has a history of violence against women, and we fear for her safety. Images flashed on the screen, photos of me and Marcus from happier times, carefully curated to show a loving couple. Then crime scene photos, arrest records, everything they could dig up to paint Dante as a monster. We're offering a reward of $1 million for information leading to her safe return, the senator added. And we're calling on the FBI to investigate Mr. Salvatore's organization for kidnapping, human trafficking, and racketeering. The feed cut to a reporter. In related news, federal agents raided Salvatore's businesses this morning, seizing records and computers. Sources say an arrest warrant may be issued as early as tonight. Dante grabbed a glass from his desk, hurled it at the wall. It shattered, raining crystal across the floor. He's not just coming for you, I said quietly. He's coming for everything you've built. Then we accelerate the timeline. Dante's voice was cold, controlled rage. Luca, move the meeting up. Tell Marcus we'll meet him at 6. Harbor Warehouse, just like he wanted. Boss, that only gives us 4 hours to prepare. Good. Maybe he'll be scrambling too. Dante turned to me, and the look in his eyes was pure predator. You want to be bait? Fine. But we do this my way. And Isabel? Yes? When this is over, when Marcus is gone, and Teresa is safe, and the FBI is off my back, you and I are going to have a very long conversation about acceptable levels of risk. Despite everything, I felt my lips curve. I look forward to it. His phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Change of plans. 6 p.m. works better for me anyway. Oh, and Dante? I'm watching the house. I see you've got Isabel right where I want her. Don't worry, I'll take good care of her soon. She always did look beautiful when she cried. Below the text was a photo, taken from somewhere outside, showing Dante and me, standing close, his hand on my face. Marcus had eyes on us. Right now. Everyone out. Now. Dante's command sent Luca and the others scrambling from the study. Within seconds, we were alone. The door locked, curtains drawn against whatever eyes Marcus had watching. He moved through the room with lethal efficiency, checking for bugs, cameras, anything that could compromise us. I watched him work, my heart still hammering from the realization that Marcus had been watching, had seen Dante touch me, had seen something between us I hadn't even fully acknowledged to myself. Clear. Dante finally stopped, running a hand through his dark hair. But we need to assume he has access to everything. Every conversation, every plan. How long has he been watching? Long enough. His jaw clenched. Vincent said. Marcus asked. Specific questions about my security protocols, about which rooms I use, where I sleep, who I trust. He's been planning this for weeks. Maybe longer. The implications crashed over me. He knew I'd come to you. Before I even made the decision. He knew. Teresa. The name fell between us like a stone. He used her to guide you here. Made sure you'd end up exactly where he wanted you. My legs gave out. I sank into the nearest chair, the orchestration of it all overwhelming. So I never had a choice. Any of it. Running to the shelter, meeting Teresa, coming to you. It was all part of his plan. Maybe. Or maybe he just adapted when you made moves he didn't expect. Dante crouched in front of me, his hands settling on my knees. Marcus is smart, but he's not omnipotent. He makes mistakes. Getting cocky enough to send that photo? That was a mistake. Now we know he's watching, which means we can feed him exactly what we want him to see. What do you mean? A dangerous smile curved his lips. We give him a show. Make him think you're terrified, that I'm losing control, that everything is falling apart exactly the way he planned. And while he's congratulating himself on his genius, we're actually 3 steps ahead. I wanted to believe him, wanted to trust that we could outmaneuver someone who'd been playing this game for years. But doubt gnawed at me. What if we can't? The words came out small, broken. What if he wins? What if I end up back in that apartment, wearing his ring, smiling for cameras while he... Stop. Dante's hands framed my face, forcing me to meet his eyes. That's not going to happen. I won't let it happen. You can't promise that. Watch me. The intensity in his gaze was almost painful. I've built an empire from nothing, Isabel. I've survived wars, betrayals, federal investigations, and more enemies than I can count. Marcus Hendricks is just another entitled rich boy who thinks money and connections make him untouchable. But he's never faced someone who has absolutely nothing to lose. You have everything to lose. Your business, your freedom. I don't care. The words were harsh, absolute. None of it matters if he takes you, and that realization should terrify me, but instead it just makes me more dangerous. Because a man with nothing to lose is capable of anything. His thumb brushed across my bottom lip, and the air between us ignited. We were too close, too raw, too aware of each other. His eyes dropped to my mouth, and I saw the exact moment he decided to close the distance. We shouldn't, I whispered, even as my hands fisted in his shirt. Probably not. His breath ghosted across my lips. Give me one good reason why. Because I'm broken, because I don't trust myself, because every man I've ever let close has hurt me, and I can't survive that again. I'm not every man. His forehead touched mine. And you're not broken. You're a survivor. There's a difference. Dante. He kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't soft or careful or any of the things I might have expected. It was desperate and hungry and tasted like promises neither of us should make. His hands tangled in my hair, and I melted into him, into this moment of feeling safe and wanted and seen. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, his eyes were almost black. That was, I started. A mistake. He finished. Terrible timing. Completely unprofessional. His thumb traced my swollen lip. And I'm not sorry. Me neither. The admission felt like jumping off a cliff. His phone buzzed, reality crashing back in. He checked it, his expression hardening. Luca, the FBI just showed up at my downtown office. They're executing the warrant. My stomach dropped. What do we do? We stick to the plan. Let them search. Let them take whatever they want. Everything important is encrypted or off-site. He stood, pulling me up with him. But this confirms Marcus is moving fast, which means we move faster. Knock at the door. Luca's voice. Boss, sorry to interrupt, but we have a situation. Dante unlocked the door. Luca entered, tablet in hand, his expression grim. Anthony's talking. Says he wants to make a deal. What kind of deal? His testimony against Marcus in exchange for witness protection and immunity. Luca pulled up a video feed showing Anthony in what looked like a hospital room, his shoulder bandaged. He claims he has evidence of everything: the staged suicide of Marcus's ex-girlfriend, the bribes to Judge Patterson, even the attack on Patterson's daughter. Hope flared in my chest. That could end this. If he testifies, it's a trap. Dante's voice was flat. Marcus sent him here to get captured. This is theater. Or, Luca said carefully, Anthony knows Marcus is about to burn him. Fixer knows too much. Becomes a liability. Maybe he's trying to save his own skin. By offering to testify against one of the most connected families in Boston, they'd kill him before he made it to court. Unless we protect him, I said. Both men turned to look at me. Think about it. Marcus expects us to dismiss Anthony as a plant. Expects us to ignore him. What if we do the opposite? What if we get his testimony recorded, notarized, Sent to every news outlet and law enforcement agency in the state before Marcus can stop it? Dante's eyes gleamed. Nuclear option. Burn it all down. It's risky, Luca warned. If Anthony's lying, if this is part of Marcus's plan, then we're already dead. I met Dante's gaze. But if he's telling the truth, if he really does have evidence, we could end this without anyone else getting hurt. Teresa walks free. You stay out of prison, and Marcus loses everything. Except you, Dante said quietly. The deal is you for Teresa, remember? If we don't show up, if we don't trade you for her, we show up exactly as planned. But we bring insurance. I turned to Luca. Can you get Anthony's testimony recorded and distributed in the next 3 hours? If he cooperates, yes. Make it happen. And Luca, make sure Marcus knows we have it. I want him walking into that warehouse knowing his entire world is about to collapse. Luca looked at Dante for confirmation. After a long moment, Dante nodded. Do it. But Luca, triple check everything Anthony says. I want corroboration, evidence, proof. If this is a trap, I want to know before we spring it. As Luca left, Dante pulled me close again. You know this means Marcus will be desperate. Cornered. That makes him even more dangerous. Good. I surprised myself with the steel in my voice. Let him feel what it's like to be hunted for once. His phone buzzed again. This time, the message made his face go white. What? What is it? He showed me the screen. A video. Teresa, bound and gagged, terror in her eyes. And behind her, Marcus's smile cold, triumphant, and utterly inhuman. Your move, Salvatore. Clocks ticking. The harbor warehouse loomed against the twilight sky, like a broken tooth, all rusted metal and shattered windows. The smell of salt and decay hung heavy in the air as our car rolled to a stop 50 yards from the entrance. Last chance to back out. Dante's voice was tight, controlled. His hand rested on my thigh, fingers flexing like he wanted to hold on and never let go. Not a chance. I checked the wire taped between my breasts one more time, the tiny microphone cold against my skin. Luca had assured me it was undetectable, but my heart hammered anyway. Remember the signals. You say, I understand. We move in within 30 seconds. You say, please. We come in guns blazing immediately. Dante's eyes searched mine in the dim light. And Isabel? Whatever he says, whatever he does, don't believe him. Don't let him get in your head. I won't. Promise me. His hand moved to cup my face. Promise me you won't forget who you are, what you're worth, that you're not his, no matter what paperwork he waves around. I promise. I covered his hand with mine. And Dante, don't do anything stupid to save me. The plan works if we stick to it. His laugh was dark. Asking me not to be stupid when it comes to you is like asking the ocean not to be wet. He leaned in, pressing his forehead to mine. But I'll try. A shadow appeared at the warehouse entrance. Anthony, alive and mobile despite his shoulder wound, waving us forward. He's supposed to be in protective custody. I hissed. Change of plans. Dante's jaw clenched. Marcus must have gotten to him, or the custody was fake to begin with. So we're walking into a trap with no insurance. We always were. He pulled back, his expression hardening into the mask of the Mafia Boss everyone feared. Stay close, stay smart, and trust that I've survived worse odds than this. We exited the car together. The click of my heels on concrete echoed too loud in the gathering darkness. Dante's hand settled on the small of my back, possessive, protective, and utterly at odds with the role we were supposed to be playing. Inside, the warehouse was a cathedral of shadows and rust, shipping containers stacked like building blocks, catwalks overhead, and in the center of it all, Marcus. He looked exactly as I remembered, tall, handsome in that polished way that came from expensive haircuts and designer suits. His smile was warm, familiar, and it made my skin crawl. Bella. His arms opened wide, like we were lovers reuniting instead of prey and predator. You came home. She's not home. Dante's voice cut through the space. She's here for Teresa. That was the deal. Was it? Marcus's smile widened. See, I've been thinking about our arrangement, Salvatore, and I've decided the terms need renegotiation. Movement in the shadows. Men emerged from behind containers, at least a dozen, all armed. Too many, way too many. Dante didn't flinch. Where's Teresa? Safe. For now. Marcus's eyes never left me. Isabel, darling, why don't you come here? We have so much to discuss. I felt Dante tense beside me. This was it, the moment that would determine everything. I took a step forward. Then another. Isabel, don't. Dante's voice was strained. It's okay. I looked back at him, trying to convey everything I couldn't say aloud. Trust me. I love you. Don't let him win. I understand. The signal. 30 seconds until Dante's men moved in. I crossed the distance to Marcus, every step feeling like walking to my execution. When I reached him, his hand snaked around my waist, pulling me against him. His cologne, once comforting, now suffocating, filled my nose. There's my girl. His lips brushed my temple, and I fought not to recoil. Did you really think Salvatore could protect you? That some criminal could give you the life I can? Let Teresa go. My voice shook, but I forced the words out. You have me. That's what you wanted. Oh, Bella, I don't just want you back. His hand tightened painfully on my hip. I want you to choose me, to admit that leaving was a mistake, to apologize. Never. The slap came fast, snapping my head to the side. Stars exploded across my vision. Dante roared, surging forward. Marcus's men raised their weapons. Marcus's gun pressed against my temple. One more step and I paint the walls with her brain. Sound familiar, Salvatore? I believe that's exactly what Anthony said before you shot him. Dante froze, every muscle coiled with barely restrained violence. You're a dead man, Hendricks. Maybe. But she'll be dead first. Marcus's breath was hot against my ear. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave. Walk away. Forget Isabel exists. And in return, I won't have the FBI arrest you for kidnapping, human trafficking, and the rape of Judge Patterson's daughter. You framed me for that. Prove it. Marcus's smile was poisonous. Your DNA, your men's fingerprints, security footage of your car near her apartment. It's all very convincing. Almost like it was real. 20 seconds. I could feel Dante's eyes on me, silently begging me to give the emergency signal, to say please. But if I did, the shooting would start, and Teresa would die wherever Marcus had her hidden. What about Teresa? I asked. What about her? Marcus shrugged. She helped you run, helped you embarrass me. Why would I let her go? Because I'll cooperate. The words tasted like poison. I'll come back. I'll marry you. I'll be the perfect senator's daughter-in-law. I'll smile for cameras and lie to reporters and play whatever role you need. But only if Teresa walks free. No. Dante's voice was raw. Isabel, no. Do we have a deal? I ignored him, focused entirely on Marcus. Marcus studied me, his calculating eyes searching for the trap. And Salvatore? Leaves Boston. Tonight. Forever. Each word was a knife in my chest. You destroy the evidence against him. He gets to walk away. Isabel, goddammit, don't do this. Do we have a deal? I asked again. 10 seconds. Marcus's smile was triumphant. We have a deal. Anthony, bring Teresa. But Anthony didn't move. Instead, he pulled out his phone, fingers flying across the screen. Actually, Marcus, I think we need to renegotiate. The warehouse lights blazed on, blinding, and suddenly we weren't alone anymore. FBI agents poured in from every entrance, weapons drawn, vests emblazoned with bold letters, and at the front, holding a tablet displaying Anthony's recorded testimony, stood a woman I recognized from news broadcasts. Special Agent Sarah Chen, head of the FBI's Organized Crime Division. Marcus Hendricks, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, kidnapping, bribery of a federal official, and about 15 other charges we've accumulated in the last 3 hours. She smiled, cold and professional. Thanks for the confession. The wire picked up everything. Marcus's gun wavered. His face went white. What? No, this isn't. It's over. I stepped out of his grip, my hands shaking. Anthony wasn't lying. He really did have evidence, and he really did want to make a deal, just not with Dante. Marcus's eyes found mine, and for the first time, I saw fear there. Real, genuine fear. You planned this. You and Salvatore. No. Dante appeared at my side, his arm sliding around my waist. She planned this. I was just smart enough to trust her. As FBI agents moved in to cuff Marcus, his father, and half a dozen corrupt officials who'd been in his pocket, I finally let myself breathe. Teresa? I asked Agent Chen. Safe. We extracted her 2 hours ago when Anthony gave us the location. She nodded toward a door at the far end. She's been asking for you. But before I could move, Marcus lunged. He broke free from the agent holding him, his hand closing around a fallen weapon. The gun swung up, aimed directly at my chest. If I can't have you... Dante shoved me aside. The gunshot was deafening, and Dante fell. No! The scream ripped from my throat as Dante collapsed, blood blooming across his chest. Time-fractured agents swarming Marcus, shouting more gunshots as someone took Marcus down, but all I could see was Dante's body hitting the concrete. I dropped to my knees beside him, hands pressing against the wound, blood hot and slick between my fingers. No, Dante, stay with me, please. His eyes found mine, dark and unfocused. Did we win? Yes, you idiot, we won. Now stay awake. Tears blurred my vision. Please, you have to stay awake. Tired. His hand came up, trembling, to touch my face. But you're safe. Worth it. It's not worth it if you die. My voice broke. You don't get to save me and then leave. That's not how this works. Bossy. The ghost of a smile touched his lips. Love that about you. Paramedics materialized, pulling me back, swarming over him with practiced efficiency. I watched them work, watched them cut away his shirt, watched the blood, so much blood, and felt my world tilt dangerously. Ma'am, you need to step back. I'm not leaving him. Ma'am, she stays. Agent Chen's voice cut through the chaos. But you, she pointed at me, need medical attention too. You're going into shock. Was I? I looked down, surprised to find myself shaking violently. Dante's blood covering my hands, my clothes. Someone draped a blanket over my shoulders. Someone else tried to guide me toward an ambulance. I need to see Teresa. The words came out mechanical, distant. I need to know she's okay. She's fine. She's safe. Right now, I need to not fall apart until I know he's alive. I pulled the blanket tighter. So either let me see Teresa or tell me where they're taking him. Chen studied me for a long moment, then nodded. Massachusetts General. But Isabel, he's critical. You need to prepare yourself. I didn't respond. Couldn't. If I acknowledged the possibility of Dante dying, of the man who'd protected me, fought for me, cared for me dying because of a choice I'd made, I would shatter completely. Teresa found me before I found her. She was smaller than I'd imagined, mid-50s with gray-streaked hair and kind eyes that had seen too much pain. When she saw me, covered in blood, shaking, she wrapped me in a hug that felt like coming home. You brave, stupid girl. Her voice was rough with emotion. I told you to get help, not get the man killed. He's not dead. I said it like a mantra, like saying it enough times would make it true. He can't be dead. Dante Salvatore is too stubborn to die. She pulled back, studying my face. I've known him since he was 16 years old, running numbers for his uncle. He's survived things that would have killed lesser men. He'll survive this. You sent 12 women to him. I remembered what Dante had said. Why? Why him? Because underneath all that darkness, all that violence, there's a man who understands what it means to be powerless. His mother, Teresa, paused, choosing her words, carefully. She was like you, like us, trapped by a man who thought love meant ownership. Dante watched his father destroy her, piece by piece, until there was nothing left. He swore he'd never be like that. Never let another woman suffer if he could prevent it. The revelation hit me like a physical blow. All this time, I'd wondered why a mafia boss would care about women running from abusers, why he'd risk so much to protect me. He never told me. He wouldn't. Dante doesn't share his pain. He just channels it into protecting others. Teresa's hands gripped mine. Which is why you need to fight for him the way he fought for you. Don't you dare give up on him. Massachusetts General's waiting room became my prison. Hours crawled by. Luca appeared with clean clothes and updates. Marcus was in custody, singing like a canary to try to save himself. Judge Patterson had resigned. The senator had gone into hiding. Dante's empire was being investigated. But with Anthony's testimony and the evidence they'd gathered, most charges were being dropped. None of it mattered if Dante died. Isabel, Luca's hand on my shoulder. You should eat something. I'm not hungry. You need to stay strong for when he wakes up. If he wakes up. When? Luca's voice was firm. I've seen him survive worse. The bullet missed his heart by inches. He's in surgery, but the doctors are optimistic. Optimistic isn't certain. Nothing in life is certain. But if anyone can cheat death out of spite, it's Dante. Despite everything, I felt my lips twitch. Out of spite? He's not going to let Marcus have the last word. His ego won't allow it. The surgeon emerged 6 hours after Dante had been wheeled into the OR. I stood so fast my vision swam. He's stable. The words were the most beautiful I'd ever heard. The bullet was removed successfully. No major organ damage, though he lost a lot of blood. He's incredibly lucky. Can I see him? He's in recovery. Not awake yet. But yes, briefly. I followed the surgeon through sterile hallways to a private room. And there he was, Dante Salvatore, the most dangerous man in Boston, looking pale and vulnerable beneath stark white sheets. Tubes and monitors surrounded him, beeping a steady rhythm that meant he was alive. I pulled a chair to his bedside, taking his hand in mine. It was still warm, still strong, even in unconsciousness. "You're an idiot," I whispered. "Taking a bullet for me. What were you thinking?" Of course he didn't answer, but I kept talking anyway, the words pouring out like a confession. "I thought I came to you because I was desperate, because I had nowhere else to turn. But that's not true, is it? I came to you because some part of me knew that you'd see me as a person, not a possession, that you'd fight for me like no one else ever has." I traced my thumb across his knuckles, scarred and bruised from the fight. "When you kissed me, I was terrified, not of you, of how much I wanted it, how much I wanted to trust you, to believe that maybe not all men are like Marcus, that maybe I could be safe and still be seen." A tear slipped down my cheek. "You can't die, Dante. You don't get to show me what it's like to be protected and then leave me alone. That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair." My head snapped up. His eyes were open barely, heavy-lidded and glazed with painkillers, but open. "You're awake." I couldn't stop the sob that escaped. "You're actually awake. Takes more than one bullet to kill me." His voice was rough, barely audible. "Marcus? Arrested. In custody. He's going to prison for the rest of his life." "Good." His fingers tightened around mine. "You're safe?" "I'm fine. Thanks to you." "Wrong." His eyes focused on me with surprising intensity for someone who'd just been shot. "You saved yourself. I just provided backup." "That's not..." "You planned everything. The wire, Anthony's testimony, bringing in the FBI. I would have just shot everyone, and asked questions later." A weak smile curved his lips. "You're smarter than me. You took a bullet for me. Would do it again." No hesitation. "Worth it." Fresh tears spilled over. "You can't say things like that." "Why not? It's true." His thumb brushed across my knuckles, mirroring my earlier gesture. "Isabel, when I saw that gun aimed at you, I didn't think, didn't calculate odds or plan strategy. I just moved, because the thought of losing you." His voice cracked. "I couldn't survive that. You barely survived this. But I did survive. We both did. Marcus is gone. You're free." His eyes searched mine. "So what happens now?" The question hung between us, heavy with possibility. What did happen now? I wasn't Marcus's fiancé anymore. Wasn't a woman on the run. For the first time in 3 years, I could be anyone, go anywhere. But looking at Dante broken and bleeding and still somehow the strongest person I'd ever met, I knew exactly where I wanted to be. "Now?" I leaned forward, pressing my lips gently to his. "Now we heal. Together." His hand came up to cup the back of my head, holding me close despite his injuries. "Together," he whispered against my mouth. I like the sound of that.